right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Bob Pompeani here, manning the controls in the fan cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. You know the drill. Call us at 412-575-2600. You can do it on social media at X or Twitter, however you prefer to call that. It's at KD Pomp, at Chris Mueller, PGH. Chris is up at 93.7 The Fan, home of the PM team. And Chris, I want to start with the Pirates. Since July the 1st, they're better record than the Dodgers. The Pirates are 27-27, Dodgers 25-29. And if you take that even further, since the 4th of July, the Dodgers are 7 games under 500. They have some pitching issues, I think. But the bottom line is the Pirates are playing well under Donnie Kelly, which leads to 2 questions. Number 1, will he be back as manager? I say yes to that. Number 2, is he saving Ben Cherington's job in the process? Man, Andrew McCutchen can still turn on a pitch, 98 miles an hour, and he just drilled that deep into left field. You also saw some nice pitching there, even though Braxton Ashcraft did not have his best stuff. He was wild, but he got out of a bases-loaded no-out jam by 2 strikeouts and a flyout. And again, against that lineup, it's pretty good. Mike Burrows came in. They're going to have a logjam of pitchers, which is good to see. I agree with what you're saying about not. I remember when Brian Hayes had that one final month of the season in, what was it, September, and everybody thought that was it. You can't be fooled by what you see. But at the same time, the pitching, I think, is for real, which means you got to go out and acquire some hitting, and that's going to be the challenge. I want to ask you about Cam Heyward today. He was there again today, Chris, practicing fully in pads. I get the feeling this is fait accompli. I think he's going to play on Sunday, regardless if there's a sweetener or not. Are you of the same opinion, or do you think something else may happen?
No, I think he's going to play. I'm with you, Bob. What are they going to have this one? Is it going to be Cam Heyward bursts into Art Rooney's office like TJ Watt did to get a deal done? Will it be Troy Polamalu signing his contract on his teammate's back, as the story goes? on the tarmac, right. Of course. Perhaps they could even get to New York City and Cam can post a picture of a direct deposit that has $6 million in it or something from the Steelers. Either they get it done in the next couple of days or he just plays and they kind of win this standoff.
Yeah, it's been going on since February, so they have not budged, which tells you something, because Cam made it known back in February that he wanted this, and it just has not worked that way. We got a doubleheader for you coming up on KDK, but I want to remind you, after the Steelers and the Jets, 1 o'clock, we have the Packers and the Lions, but also on KDK Plus right here after the game. We have plenty of post-game. Rich Walsh will be in New York. I'll be here with Chris Hoke as we break down and take your calls as well. In the meantime, we want your calls now at 412-575-2600. We'll take a break, come back with that and more as we continue right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, KDKA Plus. All right, welcome back. This is our Xfinity tweet of the night from Dan Clark, who says the Dodgers are 22-29 since Independence Day. But prior to that, they had a 3-game sweep of the White Sox. And, you take that to 25-29. And again, during that same period, the Pirates are 27-27. Not that it means anything because they're in last place, but there is progress in the pitching department. If you had to construct your starting pitching tonight over what you may see next year in starting 5, assuming Mitch Keller is traded, although I still think he has a role in this rotation if he's here, and he could be a good number 4 starter. But let's say that Keller is used to acquire some bats. What is your 5 that you're looking at? I think certainly what we've seen from these young guys will indicate that they're going to be there.
Skeens, Chandler, 1-2. I would hope they give Bubba Chandler some starts before the end of the year so they can grow him into that role.
Just like Ashcraft, I think that's what they're going to do. They give him that sort of bulk thing, and then all of a sudden you'll get some starts at the end.
I could also see it starting, not that it has to finish this way. I think you can, reconfigure the rotation behind Skeens based on who maybe shows the most, but maybe it would be Skeens 1, Ashcraft 2 because of an experience factor. Chandler 3, where you give him presumably easier matchups. I think Burrows is going to be in there. And then how about, Oviedo? A lot of right-handed pitching there, but I just think they like the power arms. I think it'll be kind of interesting to see if somebody else emerges from that little group or from outside that group, I guess I should say. But that would be the 5 that I would give you right now. And I would bet that if they trade Keller, they should trade Keller. I don't know how much of a bat he'll fetch in return, but he should get somebody to give a major league bat of reasonable like above average quality because
Yeah.
he's an innings eater, and on a good team, he's still a good 4 or 5 starter, and that has real value, and it should return them a bat at a position they need. Somebody will want to make a baseball trade for him, and that's where their depth's
quality outings every time he's out for the most part. Now, in the second half of the season, it hasn't been that way, but I still think his experience is something that would be valued by a contending team for sure. And throw Jared Jones into that. I know he's going to come back from the injury, but if he regains what he had his first year, that's a pretty good thing, not to mention a guy like Hunter Barco. You see our West Bend University, KDKA.com/connect question of the night. As the second half of the Pirates season giving you hope for next year? Most people are not going to be fooled. They say 78% no. So let's get to the lines. Chris, we got a lot of people want to talk, beginning with Chuck in Uniontown. Hello, Chuck. How are you?
Good evening, fellas, and thanks. Yeah, I agree. I agree 1,000% with Mo. There is no way you can bring Sherrington back. He's a complete failure. 6 last place finishes. There isn't anything more to be said of that. But I do want to say about Donnie Kelly. If Kelly should finish with a winning record, do you think he could get as high as maybe fifth place manager of the year?
You know, there was some talk at the very beginning when they were hot. Bob Nightingale put out there, Chuck, that he should be contending for it, and then they went to a tailspin. I would say no, only because to me it's start to finish. If I'm going to judge this whole thing on manager of the year, I want to see someone who does something and gets you to a place where you can compete for a playoff. At least that's the way I view it. He'd get a lot of, honorable mention kind of stuff, Chris, but I'm not going to give it to him, despite what he's been able to do, which is very good.
So he's managed 102 games. They've played 140. He's 51 and 51, 22 games left. Mm-hmm. Now, this isn't likely, but say they go 14 and 8 the rest of the way, and he can show off a 65 and 59 record for a team that was as abhorrent as they are or were under Shelton. Yeah, I'd give him top 5 for sure. I think that would be a legitimately impressive managerial job. I will say that it would be even more impressive in a weird way because their offense has been better since he took over, but it hasn't been that much better. Like, they've still averaged under 4 runs per game post Derek Shelton. They are not a good offense by any stretch, nor have they been. I know they had that little run where they had the crazy outscoring, the crazy victory margin for several games in a row, but to answer Chuck's question, I'd put him in my top 5 if I were making manager of the year, if he finishes this up strong, a couple games over 500.
By the way, the Pirates have 17 shutouts now. That leads the major leagues after getting a combined one tonight. Back to the lines.
They had an average hitting, they'd be in the playoffs.
Absolutely, and especially early in the season where they're getting very good starts from just about everyone, including Keller. Jim and Butler's next up. Hello, Jim. How are you? Welcome to the Sports Call.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, what's up?
Hey, I love watching a good college football game, with a couple equally matched teams like Clemson and LSU. And I didn't have a favorite in that game. However, I thought Clemson had the better offense in the first half, LSU maybe bringing it on in the second half, and then to see a bad call like LSU had against them on a touchdown throw that I believe was clearly a touchdown, be overturned as an incomplete pass. Mm-hmm. I thought that was ridiculous. I mean, the receiver caught the ball.
All right, but your point is what? That LSU, I mean, listen, LSU was impressive, I thought, because I didn't, normally Brian Kelly has problems early on, and I thought a lot of people had looked at Clemson and said, well, that's the team you got to beat, and they still may be. But LSU has to be given. They moved up considerably in the ratings. Well, man, I never saw a team in 1 week draw from 8 to 21 like Alabama did, and I wonder about how hot that seat that Kalen DeBoer is on.
Well, his buyout's $63 million, then it only drops to $60 on December 1st. He's not on a hot seat because Alabama just doesn't have that kind of cash. There are probably 5 or 6 schools, maybe. Phil Knight at Oregon, Larry Ellison now basically underwriting Michigan. Texas has the money. Maybe A&M's got a bunch of oil guys that could do it. Not many can. He's not on a hot seat, even though fans there are pretty livid. Can we just go back to that call for a second? The subtext or the subtitle of that call should be, did Jim and Butler have LSU minus 10.5 on the alternate spread?
Very much so.
I mean, that one was out of nowhere. That was complete. They didn't even decide the game. They still won kind of going away, and they dominated. I'll tell you this, tangible outcome from that game, we're all watching quarterbacks. Lenoris Sellers battled Virginia Tech, and I thought looked pretty good. Arch Manning, not good. Nussmeier, I thought, played like one of those quiet veteran on the road, like you don't screw it up for your team with your defense playing that well. I was not impressed. I don't know about you, Bob, and I've not heard great things from a lot of scouts when you like read what they say. They're low on Klubnik from Clemson. So if you're a Steelers fan who's really enamored with the idea of them picking Cade Klubnik, if he has a good year, that's a buyer beware situation, and I did not think he looked good at all in that game.
However, it's only 1 week, and there's a lot more to go here. We've seen how things can change over the course of a season. Also, when you look at next year's draft, which of course is coming here to Pittsburgh, you got to wonder how many teams are going to be looking for quarterbacks, and the Browns could be going down that road again as well. So it depends on where they are and what they have to do to move into a position and who would be available for them. I thought Josh Hoover, I don't know much about him, but I watched that game the other day, and I know it's North Carolina, Chris, but man, he looked pretty good. I think Nussmeier.
Think about what you're saying. I know it's North Carolina and Bill Belichick, and they're a bunch of chumps, but yes, he looked good. Did you see the kid from Cal, JKS, the true freshman, lighting it up? Would you care to take a stab at what his actual name is? Because that's going to be a tongue twister. If people here thought Fuamatu Ma'afala was tough, my God, his name is unbelievably difficult to say, but you're going to be saying it a lot because he looks like a stud in the making for Cal.
And yeah, he's very young in that person. I'm going to be interested to see a lot of these guys as we go on week to week. All right, let's squeeze in another call before we go, and that would be Jay in Easton. Hello, Jay.
How you guys doing? Thanks for the call.
Sure, thank you.
Two thoughts. Between Don Kelly and Ben Charrington, I think it's two different conversations. Don Kelly's done a heck of a job with the tools he's given. And then Ben Charrington, if I may be incorrect, but I'm a huge Red Sox fan, the only time he had a winning season was in 2013 when they won the World Series.
Yeah, and everything else has been last place. So, yeah, if you look at the total body of work here, 6 of these seasons in Pittsburgh, it hasn't worked. But my theory on this is that Donnie Kelly is doing a good enough job where Ben Charrington may go in and say, hey, look, we're hitting this thing right now. You have to be patient with this. We have the pitching. We're going to go. And the question is, will Bob Nutting trust him to make those kinds of decisions? And will Bob Nutting give him the, quote, resources that he needs? He said that last year, but it wasn't accurate at all. Will he give him the resources?
The resources he did give him, it sounded like they spent it on analysts. Let's be fair to Ben Charrington. He won the World Series, and he once finished 4th place in the NL Central. Otherwise, it's been dead last every single year of his career. You present an interesting hypothetical, just the vision of Bob Nutting being approached by Ben Charrington. Hey, this is why I deserve to keep my job on so and so and so on. It could be very easy for Bob Nutting to say, you know what, man? It doesn't take a genius to know that you've assembled a really good pitching staff. It shouldn't take a genius to surround those pitchers with decent hitters. Apparently, you're no genius, though, because you haven't done that. Get out. I'll find somebody who will.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what betting odds would be on this if one of these sports books, whether or not he would return, because I think that is going to be a question that we're talking about here for quite some time, depending on what they do immediately after the season. We'll take a break. We have Kirk and Manor coming up and more. It's 412-575-2600. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. All right, welcome back. We have a tweet here from Gary Watson who says Ben Charrington is not going to be fired. He's doing what Nutting wants. Another one from RJ35 who says Charrington ain't going nowhere. I think most people have come to the conclusion that Bob Nutting is not going to make a move here, even though I think it is merited to do it. But I get the feeling that they may just keep, and I don't know if he has a contract ending, if it's because no one tells you those details, but I would never give him another one. He'd have to prove to me, if I were to keep him, that he would do it next year, and the goal would be playoffs or bust.
I do think some of this is people assuming the worst and hoping they, are pleasantly surprised, but trying to prepare themselves that the Pirates won't do what everyone thinks they should do. I would just say this. I think Bob Nutting was very close to firing Charrington after last year. He would have every reason to finally pull the trigger after this year if that's how he felt after 2024, Bob.
I got you, and I think that's going to be a very interesting thing to follow. Chris, we're out of time. Thank you as always. We appreciate it. We'll do it again tomorrow night. We hope you join us as well at 412-575-2600. Join us tonight at 11 o'clock, KDKA. We have all your sports, including an interesting interview with Aaron Rodgers.